appreciate the case that you make, I really do. And I don't, I want to make sure that one thing that's clear is that I believe employers should provide those kinds of benefit packages. The question I think that we have to solve as this debate goes along is what protections are in place to make sure something like this isn't abused. Because not that I'm suggesting that it would predominantly work like this, but one has to understand that if, as I understand it, if there was a desire to abuse the system, that there are no safeguards in place that prevent it from being abused. And I think that's an important question. I think it's an important question that you need to address in the hearing process. That if I'm an employer and I have a person that really isn't sick but wants to take off every Friday, how is it that I can prevent that from happening even if they're not really sick?
May I answer that question?
Yeah, yeah.
First point you made, there is nothing in this bill that encourages or allows cheating or lying. First of all, I don't believe, and I don't think you believe, that the majority of people in this state are liars and cheaters. In fact, the studies that have been done of people who do have paid sick days now indicate that it's not being abused. Over half, 53% of the people who currently have paid sick days never miss a single day of work in the course of the year. Never miss a single day.
This is the thing.
With regard to the protections that you just talked about, under the bill, if you're going to be out for 3 days or more, your employer can require you to bring in a doctor's note to demonstrate that you've been sick. If you're an employer and you find, after this bill is passed, just like it currently is with no bill, if you find that you have an employee who's calling in every Friday or every Monday or just before a holiday and is calling in sick, I presume that most companies have a policy in place to deal with that employee. They will pay.
Dale, and again, I'm not going to debate this with you here, but you need to be prepared for those kinds of questions when you go into the hearings, because these are the kinds of things that people are bringing up. And just because you have a good idea doesn't mean it's a perfect idea. It doesn't mean that there aren't ways that your idea can't be improved to make people like it more. And I think that if you really want to be successful in the hearing process, that you have to be willing to answer the tough questions. I've never had an idea that I've come up on my own that couldn't be improved upon by thoughtful people asking good questions and figuring out ways to improve upon. So I would encourage you, as I know that the governor has encouraged with the business community, to sit down with them and see if there isn't a way that you can resolve some of their outstanding issues.
And as you know, Mr. Speaker, we absolutely agree with that, and we have indicated, not just to you, and not just to the President of the Senate, but we have made it public that we're happy to sit down with the business community or with any legislator. In fact, we have contacted every single legislator now, offering to sit down if there are clarifications that need to be made. Happy to do that. But the time to do that's now. The time to do that is now before this has to go to the ballot, because once it goes to the ballot, as you know, you can't change the language in it. It is what it is at that point, and the people voted up or down. So we're hoping that there will be some discussion, because so far we've been met with a brick wall.
Well, I've valued the conversation with you today and appreciate you being here, and look forward to seeing how the hearings go.
I just wanted to add one thing to Mr. Speaker. I agree with you that there are many good businesses that offer this benefit, and to them, we applaud that, because they realize that this is good business. Healthy employees are productive employees. In fact, we have coalition members that say just that, and actually, unfortunately, due to the weather, some of them weren't able to make it here today. But the fact is, 42% of our workforce, over 2.2 million Ohioans, don't have any paid sick days at all that they can earn right now. And they're faced to make a real gut-wrenching choice between going to work sick, as Bishop Cox described, or staying home and potentially losing pay or even losing their job. And that's why we feel strongly that citizens all over Ohio, when they sign this petition, we're looking for our legislators, looking for our elected officials to help us take care of this problem. And we all here feel as though we have a fair and reasonable bill, but as you mentioned, perhaps there are improvements that can be made, or at least language that can be clarified. I think Dale just said very well that our purpose for being here today is to move the process, to have fair discussion, fair hearings, to be assigned a bill number. And I think we're all appreciative that as you committed to today, that process is going to move forward.
Okay. Well, it's going to before you came here, you just, I guess.
We didn't know that. We've heard nothing of that sort from any of, comments even last week from the Associated Press, whether it be from your office. Your office was actually quoted as saying you've seen nothing to move the bill along at this point. We haven't seen it assigned a bill number. It's still sitting at the clerk's office as far as we can tell. But again, I'm glad to hear that. I'm not going to bicker with the process moving forward.
Well, sometimes I don't always announce my intentions on how to do things with the news media. So. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.